So why are your legs and your forearms the two most important muscle groups in the body? Well, if there's one thing that you can take from some of the things I talk about in regard to strength, health, fitness, and things like that, it's this concept of looking at survival. Your body wants to survive. That one principle alone of survival can help you understand so much about what your body does, how your body responds, and again, how you can set up a training program, how you can set up your health and nutrition program. Just getting back to that one principle. And that's what these two muscle groups are the most important, the most critical for survival. Your grip can literally save your life if you're hanging off of something, right? It is a crucial component of like carrying something or moving something or saving someone else's life, pulling something away from someone, getting in a fight, you're grabbing onto someone, all right, you're clawing, you're scratching. You know, your grip is one of those things that is so crucial to so many different things that we have to do. And our hands are so important as human beings because they're our biggest tool, right? We use those for everything. So your forearms are gonna feel anything that your hands do really, really quickly. You don't really have much muscle in your hand. It's mostly tendon. And so those muscles come from your forearms. And then your legs, same sort of thing. Such survival tools for running away, fighting and fleeing. Even when I fight, if I'm gonna throw a punch or if I'm gonna grab someone, right, all my power comes from my legs. So that's why in jujitsu, what do? The whole goal of jujitsu is to bring someone to the ground because that takes away so much of your power because now you hit someone when you're on the ground without your leg strength. It's not even it's way less than half of the power that you would normally have. So your legs and your forearms are so important. Now, translate this into your training programs. Why is it that those two muscle groups are also the ones that you feel the most when you train? When you're doing a back exercise and you're grabbing onto a really heavy weight and you're doing a row or you're doing a pull down, you tend not to feel your back as much as you feel your forearms giving out. Why is that? Same thing with legs. You're doing these leg movements, all right, and your legs start burning really, really quickly. Or everybody hates leg day. Why? Because those muscles burn so much. Well, why are those two muscle groups burn the most and aggravate us the most? Well, it's because of that survival. It goes back to survival. If you fatigue those muscles, your chance of survival goes down because, like we said, they're so important to those natural tendencies of fighting, fleeing, surviving. So your body has this built-in mechanism of safety measures, basically like a limiter on a car, and it says, hey, if you get to this point, right, we're gonna stop you, or we're gonna warn you at least, so that you know, hey, you should back off because you might need this for a life or death situation. You might need your forearms, you might need your legs for an actual threat. When you have adrenaline pumping through your body, you don't really feel those things. But when we go to the gym and we're just doing leg day, that burn starts setting in. And that is because your body says, hey, you're hurting me. Stop doing that because we need these guys for a real situation. And that's why I've had videos on, you got to train insane and Dorian Yates, Blood and Guts, and Tom Platz and all these things. The reason why you got to get nuts when you train is because it's not a life or death situation. You're hanging out at the gym, you're with your boys, all right? There's hot chicks, there's whatever, all right? Or you're at home and you're doing it by yourself. You're not threatened. Your survival isn't threatened. But if you go there in your mind, it'll allow you to get past that point of burn that you're feeling and really get into deep fatigue of the muscles. That instant feeling that you feel is not a feeling of the muscles are actually going to fatigue. It's just that limiter coming in telling you, hey, protect these muscles because they're so important for survival. We don't need them today. We have cars that drive us places. We have police officers. We have guns ourselves. We have all these other tools for survival. Your brain is a tool. We don't necessarily need our forearms and our legs to survive in everyday society. You know this because people are in wheelchairs, right? So that being said, if I then think about that when I'm doing my training and I go, okay, if my form goes, that's different. But if I'm just feeling that discomfort, realize that that's just a warning and I can keep pushing past that because your limiter on your legs and your forearms is going to be well before you get to 100% use of those muscles. That muscle group it's going to start burning way quicker than it would on other muscles because they're so important to your body. So if you can know that going into your training, and you can say, hey, when I start feeling this burn, as long as my forearm doesn't go, I got to keep going. It's just going to hurt. But know that that's just your body telling you, hey, we need these things for survival. I can push past that because I know this isn't life or death. I know that this is just about me making gains. And if I want to make the most gains, I got to endure and I got to get through as many muscle fibers as I can. So with legs and forearms, they're so important in our body. You're going to feel that sooner than you would anywhere else. So if you can push through that, you're going to allow yourself to make other gains, whether it's your legs, whether it's your whole body. It doesn't matter what we do. The forearms and the legs pretty much, are indicative of everything else, because when we push, we got to use our grip. When we pull, we got to use our grip. When we do any lower body movement, all right, we got to use our legs. So if you can then translate that into, hey, this is a life or death situation, trick yourself in. This is life or death. You'll be able to, number one, push past that pain point. But again, you're going to get to that goal of really fatiguing the muscle fibers, which is the reason why you're there in the first place if we're talking about building strength and building muscle. So if you've ever wondered why those forearms and those legs start to burn quicker, they're so annoying, that's why, is because they're so directly related to survival. So if you can, again, trick yourself into thinking it's a life or death situation, you're going to end up with way more gains from that. That's forearms and that's legs, that's survival. Take it in consideration with your training program and watch how you're going to get more out of it, because now you know that you can. Well, you might not do better if you know, but if you can remind yourself of that, it's one of the things that I do when I do like a rowing movement. My grip goes, and instead of just running to straps, which I might use on certain situations because grip might be a limiting factor and I want to get heavier weight, but I remember doing it one day when I learned this concept and I started doing the rows, and I was like, okay, it's just burning, right? It ain't gonna kill me, all right? This isn't life or death. I gotta keep going if I really wanna make those gains. And I did like 10 more repetitions than I normally would. Like I was doing a set of 10 and I was like expecting to get 11 or 12 that day. And I got 20 repetitions because I just didn't give in to the pain. And I'm not saying that that's going to happen for you. I'm not saying that you were probably babying it as much as I was, but what I'm saying is that's the potential that you can have when you really tap into, hey, it's just pain. I can endure this. If this was life or death, I could handle 10 times more than this. And so because we don't have those endorphins pumping through our body, we've got to trick ourselves and we've got to say, hey, yeah, this is painful, but I can handle it. And when you do that, you're going to see so much more out of your program, out of yourself, because that limiting factor isn't so much of a limiting factor anymore. So that's forearms, that's legs. I'll end it there and I'll see you next time. Bye.